Today we're driving the 2024 Volvo V60 T8 Polestar. This is one of my favorite types of vehicles. It's a fast Volvo wagon. And you know it's the Polestar because it's got gold seat belts, gold brake calipers, gold valve stems, and yeah, it's a properly set up performance wagon. It's a lot of fun to drive. One of the best daily drivers out there in my opinion. Of course, it's a plug-in hybrid, which means it'll do about 41 miles on an electric charge. You've got a 2-liter gasoline turbocharged 4-cylinder engine up front, a little bit more battery capacity for the rear electric motor. This Volvo makes 455 horsepower, 523 pound-feet of torque between the internal combustion engine and the rear electric motor. Pretty awesome stuff, in my opinion. Let's walk you around it, talk about what it's been like to live with this week, and we'll take it on the road and give you guys some driving impressions. This V60 Polestar is painted in onyx black. It's looking extra menacing. We have a set of 19-inch forged wheels on Continental Premium Contact 6 tires. Brembo brakes, painted in gold, of course. Love the blacked out front grille, the Polestar badging, the Thor's hammer headlamps, or at least DRLs. What a good looking wagon. It's low, it's sleek, it's sporty. We are so lucky that Volvo gives us a fast, cool wagon like this in the United States. This costs around $72,000. Look at the amount of space you have back here. This is about what you'd get in most crossovers, except this is just way cooler. No spare tire, just to fix a flat kit. All sorts of battery and electric motor stuff going on back there. Not sure why there's painter's tape. You get a nice cargo cover. You can tilt this up here too. Neat. 2 buttons, one to close the tailgate and one to lock it. A friend of mine just bought one of these as a daily and he absolutely loves it. He's had performance cars. It's actually the lifted Subaru WRX STI owner that I filmed with a little while ago, and he replaced that STI with one of these. This has the Bowers & Wilkins sound system, one of the best in the business. We get a lot of room in the back seat of this V60. Previous generation Volvo V60s used to be a little bit cramped in the back. Volvo worked on that and extended their vehicles to have a little bit more interior room, and I am thankful for that. Armrest, cup holders. You have to open this from the back, but this is kind of a little ski pass-through right here. Little Swedish flag, love to see that. And about the same interior that we've seen in just about every other Volvo in the last few years. A couple small updates to the infotainment here and there, switch gears, stuff like that. But the big news here is that this V60 sees a lot of the updates the other plug-in hybrid Volvos see for the 23-24 model year. Here's your charge port. This will charge from empty to full in about 5 hours. Not really fast enough of an onboard charger to really get you going or topped up midday, but overnight it works. And it's nice because you don't really need to have a 240 charger. You can just charge this overnight on your 120 volt. 240 definitely helps, but again, the onboard charger could use a bit of an upgrade and a boost in my opinion. We have Ohlins dampers, manually adjustable, of course. The suspension on this is definitely on the stiff side, but it's not punishing, and I don't think it's too firm. It gets a little bit busy around town, but for the most part, I think it performs really well and has a nice balance between ride quality and handling capability. It reminds you that you're driving a Polestar product. All right, I think it's time to hop in and go for a drive. We've got about 23 miles of electric driving range. Let's walk around this interior just a little bit more. Love this steering wheel, a nice shape, good thickness, feels really good in hand. Love the driving position too, tons of adjustability with these seats. You can get nice and low. We have a head-up display. Great visibility all the way around, too. Nice panoramic sunroof. Your visors do not slide, which is a bit of a surprise. Frameless mirror looks sharp. Love this crystal shifter. There's your reverse camera. Kind of small on this display. 360 cam. Never been too impressed with Volvo's surround cameras. They're kind of distorted and just a little bit hard to see. Also, when you go into reverse or you press the quick camera button, it won't necessarily always show you the 360 camera. Here's your stop start switch. You just turn it over to the right. Parking brake, cup holders, tiny amount of storage in here. My regular sized iPhone just barely fits in there. 2 USB-C ports, 120 watt cigarette lighter port, good sized glove box. Here's the window sticker. Good fuel economy, good power. This thing kind of does it all. I have a few minor complaints. Some of them are infotainment related and others are just kind of NVH related. Let's talk about the infotainment for a second. So we have some updates here. We now have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto available. It is a wired connection, at least for CarPlay. I think Android Auto is probably the same. They ran this update a while ago, and it was so nice to finally get that in this infotainment. We have climate controls and a separate menu. You can quickly change your temperature settings and your heated steering wheel settings right down here. That's nice. Icons are a little bit tiny to operate on the move, on the go, but you get used to it. You kind of rest your finger right here. Google Maps is the native navigation in this car. Love to see that. CarPlay seems to have worked pretty well this week. Everything is nice and responsive, so I give that to Volvo. My biggest complaint is that I frequently find myself changing drive modes in this car because I kind of want to optimize my battery usage while driving. So that menu is kind of deep in the infotainment. 3 clicks to get there. You can choose between hybrid, which will transfer over to ICE power past a certain throttle point if you have a good charge in the battery. Polestar just gives you full power all the time from the electric motor and the engine to give you the most performance possible. Pure will give you electric driving only, and you can have it default to start in pure mode every time you start the vehicle. Constant all-wheel drive is what you want for snowy weather, stuff like that. You can have auto battery usage, hold the battery for later use, or charge it with the gasoline engine. And then you've got some safety assistance and pilot assist stuff. You can choose if you want the vehicle to creep forward and drive. This also has one pedal driving, which works really, really well. And you can choose to have steering feel in firm. We're just going to start off in hybrid mode and see how this feels from there. 2-seat memory settings, auto up-down windows on all 4 corners, a button here to pop your fuel filler cap, which you should rarely ever need in this plug-in hybrid if you're plugging it in every night. Pop the tailgate. I am missing a switch to change your cluster brightness at night. You have to go in pretty deep into some menus to change that. Let's see. Controls, 1. Displays interior brightness. I'm kind of surprised, Volvo being a very safety-oriented company, that they haven't given us more physical controls for some of these frequently used things, especially when there's room for them right there and around here. They got rid of the drive mode selector. All right, enough of that. Let's go for a drive and see what this can do on the road. I've always said that Volvo makes some of the best plug-in hybrid vehicles on the market. They are just so smooth to drive. They're wonderfully calibrated and tuned. My only real complaint with the way this V60 Polestar drives is that it's just a little bit crashy over our bumpy, potholed Michigan roads. Part of that could be the Performance Continental tires. Part of that could be the Ohlins suspension. But for the most part, I can forgive it because the rest of the time this car is just so smooth and so nice to live with. When you turn the car on, it'll default to drive, so 2-pedal driving. Just pull back on the shifter to put it into B mode, brake regen mode. And you can pretty much just drive with one pedal. Tons of regen capability off throttle. This has as good, if not better, of a one pedal driving system than most electric vehicles out there. And with 143 horsepower from that rear electric motor, you can get up to speed very easily in pure mode without any trouble getting into that gasoline power. So right now, getting up to speed on the highway here, just using electricity. It looks like we're heading into some heavy sleet, which should be the best mix on these summer tires. Love the driving assistance here. We can choose our following distance very easily with these two buttons, and we can switch over into pilot assist with just a tap of this right button right there. Volvo had gotten rid of that for some time, and they finally brought it back in an update. Car stays pretty well centered between the lines. This is a nice system. I've been using it a lot. It's super easy to enable and disable. That's all you need out of a system like this. Let's see if we can get into Polestar mode here before this corner. Yes, we can. All right. See what I mean about that? It's distracting. Not the most inspiring sounding turbocharged 4-cylinder, but it does have a lot of performance. Let's switch into pure mode, which, let's be honest, if you own this car, that's how you'd be driving it most of the time. In pure mode, it's rear-wheel drive because we only have a rear electric motor, nothing in the front. All right, pure mode, full EV here. We can step through a kickdown switch and put us back into hybrid, but let's see how this performs off the line in pure mode. 143 horsepower, it's pretty decent acceleration. And this is off throttle. Good amount of regen coming down from speed. This drives so well as a plug-in hybrid. It's just so consistent, so smooth, so easy to drive. And it's comfortable. I seem to remember Polestars of the past being a little bit more hard-edged and stiffer. It's properly quick. Volvo has gotten rid of the supercharger in this latest iteration of this powertrain, and it doesn't really need it. With that extra electric motor boost coming from that back axle, there's tons of torque here. Brembo brakes feel good. Not a ton of initial bite. You do have to get some heat into the system. Love how light the steering is. Good turning radius too. And because this is a plug-in hybrid and you have immediate power from that rear electric motor, this thing just rockets out of corners. You put your foot down and it immediately gives you a shove. I think Volvo's really done a great job developing their performance T8 plug-in hybrid powertrains. The transition to internal combustion engine power is seamless, it's smooth. You can one-pedal drive them. I mean, it's just kind of the best of both worlds in one package. I love it. It's a fun car. It's a really, really nice car to daily drive and use and operate. It's simple. Yes, I have a few complaints about the infotainment, and I wish some things weren't so overly simplified here, but it all kind of fades away. And overall, I like experiencing and living with this car more than many other vehicles that we test drive and review over the course of a week. And it's nice to have around 40 miles of electric driving range with this new plug-in hybrid. That's kind of a sweet spot. Whenever we get one of these cars into test for the week, I've got to admit, I always go on AutoTrader and see what an example would cost that's maybe a couple years old with a Volvo CPO program, and you could pick these up for about $50,000 or so, used with a CPO warranty, which is a pretty darn good deal. It's a lot of car for the money. And I think as an enthusiast option, as a daily, it's kind of hard to beat. If you have some good driving roads around where you live, the Polestar might be a good choice. I don't think it's necessarily a track-ready package, but it adds just a little bit more dynamic enjoyment and sharpness to the V60 that otherwise would be missing. Didn't really talk too much about brake pedal feel. Feels very natural. That transition from regen to pad on rotor, it just feels like a normal brake pedal. I'll admit though, I've rarely been two-pedal driving this V60. I've mostly just been putting it straight into B mode as soon as I set off and using the one-pedal drive function. A little bit of safe understeer at the limit. These aren't really the best conditions for these tires today. It's kind of cold. And if I'm being honest, hybrid mode is kind of the perfect drive mode for most use case scenarios in this V60 Polestar. Gives you just enough leeway with the electric motors to drive just about anywhere on battery power. But if you need to get a little bit more acceleration out of it, that 2-liter turbo is always ready for you. It's so quiet too that most of the time you don't really notice it turning on. Alright guys, well those are going to be my thoughts on the 2024 Volvo V60 T8 Polestar engineered plug-in hybrid. Awesome car, probably one of my favorite packages and products that Volvo has built in a long time. This is the jam. This is kind of the dream daily. This would be a really, really nice vehicle for someone. Maybe you've got some more fun cars, but you want something that's cool, something that's different, something that not everyone else has. It's one of those if you know cars. And just one of my favorite things about this is the cool factor and the subtlety to the performance, the appearance, the way they've designed this car, and the driving experience is just, it's fantastic. I think we'll wrap up this video with a quick sound system test, and that'll be it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.